Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. So today we've got a 4v4 going down on Adaptive Canis River. This is a 4v4 matchmaker game. So apparently Canis is in the pool right now, and a lot of these guys might be their very first game, or at least very early on where the system is still calibrating. So let's go ahead and introduce our players. We got team 1 up at the top, team 2 down at the bottom. As always, starting with the westernmost position, we've got Webrio, who's going UEF opening first land with an interesting build order to start off. To his east, we have got Flyburn in the air position, so either he's going to be really good, or he's going to get burned and he's going to be flying while he's doing it. Can't even make these puns up. Next, we've got Ferdin, who is the ringer there for team number 1. He's going UEF opening first land with probably the most standard build order so far. Next, we have got, down at the south, we have got a Bletstift. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it means something. Who is going Cybran opening first land, rushing the Hydro before getting the 4 mexes. And with that, let's move on to team number 2. Starting with the forwardmost position, we've got Candaker, who I've actually seen before. I think in CAS previously, or played with him before. But he's going UEF opening first land, working on that Hydro right now. Next, we have got Zanduzan. All right. Sounds like Duran. He's hungry like the wolf, but he's Zanduzan, so he's hungry for some Xanax, I guess. Anyway, he's going Seraphim opening first land. Next in the air spot, we've got Exco Barks, who is going a UEF and going first air. And last but not least, only Aeon in the game, we have Gazul Wejel, who's going first land as Aeon and is ringing his mexes with P-gens. This does give you a little bit of a bump in efficiency whenever you're moving from Tech 1 to Tech 2, so we'll see how that works out for him. And yeah, so content's been a little bit slow. I've had my wife and I have both come down with the illness that shall not be named, and yeah, that's been fun. It happens to us every Christmas, so this year was no exception, but over the hump now. It honestly wasn't too bad. It was just kind of like a I don't know, mild to or moderate to severe flu for like a day, and then just kind of general low energy. But I think I'm over the hump now. We're like 4 days in. So anywho, talk about the game. So we got our red player Bletstift and Ferdin expanding their commanders out into the main area. On Canis, you've kind of got a couple of different ways that you can play it. Usually your air player is going to expand to these mexes, and we actually don't see that out from Exco Barks right now. But Flyburn is moving out to these 3 mexes. There's a good amount of reclaim on this map, so lots of little pockets of rocks and trees and other good stuff. So kind of makes up for the lack of mexes, because each player realistically only gets 6 to 7 mexes depending on the position. So helps to make up for that. 6 to 7 guaranteed, and then you gotta contest for some of the others. We got some bomber action out from our blue UEF player Exco Barks, going after Team 1's engineers. Interceptor there out from Flyburn. That's gonna be a juicy kill. Picks up I think like 6 T1 NGs there. That was rough. Some of them walked into that napalm as well. And Exco Barks also harassing Bletstift. Gonna pick up another couple of engineer kills. That's pretty good. Gonna deny that tracer for the time being before Flyburn can get his interceptor out to, well, intercept. And a little bit of Tech 1 bomber play as well coming out from Flyburn. Don't see any kills on this guy yet, so maybe he's hunting or running home. You know, he got out, he flew around, he felt like he did a good job. Now he's just going to take a break. He's going to land, take a load off, you know. I mean, these Zeus, you know, they're pretty, they work hard, all right? Can't be the king of the gods in Greek mythology without, you know, taking a break. All work and no play makes Zeus a not electric god. Anyway, on the eastern side of the map, Duran, hungry like the wolf. He's getting some forward Tech 1 land factories up, and that would be the same there for Candaker in the middle. And I think Candaker is rated relatively well at 12 to 1300 in custom games, if I'm remembering correctly. So kind of similar to me. So expecting some good things out of him. More bomber harass out, gonna bag a mechs there before Flyburn is able to get his 1 interceptor, hero interceptor, 3 ranks of vet, 4 kills. Dude's almost an ace, almost has 5 kills. Can go for that ace status here on these 2 bombers that Excobark is sending in, and lots of bomber play actually, as the Zeus have now decided to get into the action a little bit. Gonna bag an engineer. They killed off a couple of mexes as well. And it doesn't look like that interceptor is going to get ace status, as he's chilling right here on the map. But Flyburn's going to be able to take out the others. Unfortunately, Excobark, with all of his bomber play, has 0 interceptors out. So not really a good way to respond to these bombers outside of telling his allies to build some mobile AA. He also has not gone for any of these mexes. So he's working off of 4 mexes as an air player, which is... that is a constrained economy at best, my friend. You got to get out there, stake your claim. Got to go pee on some mexes and mark your territory. As Bletstift taking more bomber fire. MAA, though, out, so the bomber's not going to get a whole lot done on the commander. As the first one goes down, second and third one soon to follow. Don't even need Flyburn's interceptor. Is this the one that has... ah, he has ace status. He has 7 kills now. What a Chad. He's going to make it 8. As Excobark feeding bombers like it's going out of style. And Flyburn has actually kind of more taken the land position. So usually you'd have your yellow player move over here and then down this kind of causeway and take these mexes. And the air player would just take these 3 and focus. But Flyburn is actually just going to take over all of that and play all the positions just like the Chad gamer that he is. Excobark's going to lose another bomber. He almost gets a mex with that bomber, though. Oh, he might get it. Nope, he's not going to get it. But it's okay. He's got more bombers back here and is continuing to produce them. So Tech 1 bombers are great, y'all, but you probably don't need this many of them all the time with no interceptors on 4 mexes. So yeah, get out there. Claim your mexes, guys. Don't be afraid. Just because you're a low-rated player like this guy doesn't mean that you have to just get the knee pads out and get down for everybody else who might be a high-rated player. Get out there. Stake what's yours. Stake your claim. And now we see Zuan with that gun upgrade causes some pressure on Flyburn here, as Flyburn finishes up a Tech 2 upgrade, but is surrounded by Tech 1 units, and he is Omega dead here. There is no land anywhere in sight as long as Zuan doesn't lose vision or attention or faith. He needs to keep the faith alive. Well, you actually might not need to keep the faith alive. He can become a heretic at this point, and Flyburn is well and truly living out the story of Icarus here, is definitely flying too close to the sun there, and he is getting burned. And he is going to go down. That is our first ejection from the game. Nice little land run by attempt here from Kindaker as well in the back line. Very little land out of either Flyburn or Webrio to kind of stop this at this point. That's going to transition over to Ferdin, who is the 1K player on the northern team. Although we have a similar run by coming down from Bletstift. But by and large, Kindaker going to be a little bit more successful, I think, with his run by, at least as long as he is keeping those units moving. He can get in, threaten some of the eco here, and just needs to stay away from Webrio's comm. He could also go for Bletstift's main base. And Bletstift, those bombers actually are paying off there from Excobarks, although doing almost as much damage to his own allies' units as he is to the enemy's units, but that's okay. Panic Tech 2 point defense. Try and stop the Mantis here. Probably not necessary, but good for some peace of mind, I would assume, in case that happens again. As Kindaker does not really seem to be interested in holding this hole, as Bletstift and Ferdin pressuring pretty hard on this side, actually. Ferdin even taking the opposing air players' mexes. And Tech 2 upgrade on the way for Bletstift, as well as for Ferdin. And Candaker, I don't think got as much done as he would have liked here. He ran into Webrio's commander, as well as some Tech 1 units, and paid dearly. Verdun also trying to play this side as well with Zuan Zoran. Taking out a lot of the units on that side. Trying to take out the factories. Got some artillery in there. Should be pretty okay. And the bombers from Excobark. I mean, I guess if you make this many of them, you might as well use them. Threatening the Hydra now for Webrio. And on the other side of the map, Gajal, Wejel. These have got to be names in some foreign language that I just don't understand, and I'm probably butchering terribly, so I'm very sorry. He's got Tech 2, gonna lose his Hydra though. Does have all Tech 2 mexes, as Bloodstift also making a run by into the air player's base. Donating a lot of reclaim though. I don't really see this going anywhere or doing anything outside of maybe killing a couple of engineers. Artillery is all dead, although these tanks need to actually respond. Otherwise this Mantis is just gonna... Okay, there we go. There we go. Artillery took him down. The next one's coming though, as Bloodstift has amassed another run-by attempt. This time Excobark is going to be a little bit more on the ball with the bombers and get them outside of the base. Start harassing before the units get inside of the base. And actually, Candaker looking to firebase on his opponent's shore. He's got a couple triads down. This is just a wacky game. There's units running all over the place. No lines have really been determined. Everybody is all up in each other's business all the time. We got Excobark's commander over here, kind of out to sea with no upgrades. Could be shut down here by Verdun, and that looks to be what Verdun is going to attempt to do. We've got a naval factory coming up from Candaker, who is still trying to firebase this island. The only thing that has any sort of semblance of reason, and I use that term very loosely, is the fact that Verdun has kind of, sort of, got some Tech 1 land spam, although there are Ilshivas over here, so that's not going to work out super well, as Excobark now in danger of losing his life. His commander walked a little bit too far forward, got swatted on the nose, and he has barked his last rough. So that is going to be 3 players, 3-3, bringing the players equal, as we got Flyburn being ejected earlier and Excobark now being the one that is taken out of the game. So this is kind of wacky. Instead of it being, this game's a lot usually, or this map is usually a lot more north-south, and this one it is very much like each side of the river, which is kind of interesting. I don't see this very often, as Candaker now getting set up with his firebase, and usually this is the opposite. Usually Candaker would be here building a firebase, and Bloodstift would be up here building a firebase, but instead it's flipped around. These triads are going to make it very, very difficult for Bloodstift to get the arguably inferior Cerberus turrets up to speed there, and is not going to be able to have the critical mass needed to be able to take that out. As Candaker, what kind of exclusion zone are we working with here, just so you guys can see? That is a Tech 1. There we go, Tech 2. I was like, that seems a little small. So that factory is under threat. That mech is under threat. There is a... Okay, that was a tracer. I thought that was a triad there for a second. He's got himself some nice little reclaim here. Probably think about taking it instead of building more Tech 2 PD. As Zandizan. I've said his name like 7 or 8 different ways now, but it is Zandizan. They're going to push on Verdun here. Taking out some Tech 2 land factories, or one Tech 2 land factory, and some land factories that are on the way up to Tech 2. Absolutely murdering the Tech 1 units. He's got some Ilshivas in there. The almighty Ilshiva battling its way through Tech 1 units, slicing like a hot knife through butter, or like a hot knife through cheese if you cut your cheese with a hot knife. If you've never done that, I actually don't recommend it. It doesn't work out very well. I tried it the other day. The cheese just gets all goopy and then oil goes everywhere. Butter, man. That's the way to go. Because you want your butter melted anyway. Like, I can't think of anything in particular where it's like, I want to use cold butter. Right? Like baked potatoes, you want it melted. Bread, you want it nice and melty. You can deep fry things in it. Butter's just an amazing thing. Makes everything better. Fills the cracks with a heart. But now running into Ferdin's commander here. Ferdin with a Tech 3 upgrade, actually. Goes for some triads. Probably doesn't need that many. Maybe 1 or 2, and then you can probably OC the rest of them. You got enough health to work with. 15,000 HP. Stead, actually, I don't even know if he has overcharge. Let's see. He does not. Well, he does have overcharge, but he has no power at all. He's stalling by 1,000. His commander is sucking back at chill 500 to build these triads. And meanwhile, on the other side of the map, well, northern, Ferdin just getting hit literally everywhere. We have a run-by attempt from Candaker, who was successful in establishing his fire base. Very successful. Denying a couple of mexes from his opponents. Bloodstiff gonna try and take this back with a very plucky little group of Mantis there that are just going to run their way into the obliterating fire of those triads. But wait, it's a two-pronged attack. Surely this side will be successful. Maybe the side effects of that illness that shall not be named are worse. It's taking my already paltry intelligence and weeding it down to that of a zucchini. Okay, but Titan's gonna be able to deal with the run by there for Ferdin. He has secured his backline. Didn't lose any mexes either, as all these are Tech 2 and do take a little bit longer to take out. And Zan has now, I think, decided to pop his Xanax and chill out a little bit with his commander here. He's got some Tech 2 PD. I'm very surprised that these Cerberus are allowed to exist right now. And I'm very surprised that this is working at all. As the Cerberus, they got a TMD there. And maybe can hit. I don't think Bloodstiff has radar. Well, he has it, but it seems to be blinking in and out. He has the power for it. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Well, he definitely doesn't have the power, actually. He is bleeding power. I think he's losing power every time this thing decides that it wants to fire. Every time that Gunther shoots its load, it needs some time to, you know, recalibrate, recoup, take a shower. As Ilshavas are now facing off against Titans. I think that Ferdin has enough Titans here, though, to be able to deal with it. As the Titans come in and show their titanic strength against the Ilshavas. Absolutely ripping them asunder. Sort of. They are absolutely carving up, though, the Strikers. Just like an electric knife through a turkey. Christmas Day. But if you set the electric knife down, it doesn't actually work very well against the turkey. And if you set the electric knife down near water or in water, it'll short out. Pop a breaker, which makes it worse. I'm, again, very surprised at how effective the Tech 2 point defense play is out of team number 1. That seems to be their primary goal here. The Cerberus going to take out a triad. That should never happen. Triads, I'm not good enough to be able to pull this off, but if you want to give it a shot, triads do have a little bit of an AoE effect on them, so something you can kind of do to game the system is do an attack round like right in front of a Cerberus or the Utashala, which I think is the Seraphim one. Ah, yes, I remember my Seraphim names. You can set a ground fire right in front of these guys, and it'll kill them, but stay out of range. So cool little trick. I always forget it exists, but if you remember, give it a shot. Let me know how it goes. I have yet to see Tech 3. Nope, I take that back. There is Tech 3 on the field. Ferdin sorting out his power issues, I'm guessing, from earlier. Yep, he is stalling quite a bit of power. Should be fixed by the next Tech 3 P-Gen to come online, though. as this has really turned into Ferdin and Bletstift versus Zanduzan and Kandaker. And we've got Gajal, Yewezhel, and Webrio playing SimCity in the corners. Just chill. I got Tech 2 for Webrio and Tech 2 for Gajal. Gajal, though, has an extra mix that Webrio does not. So Gajal definitely performing better of the 0-rated players in this game so far. And big push into a buzzsaw of a Ravager as well as Tech 2 point defense. Unfortunately, there are no shields. And the Ravager is not attacking the units. It is ravaging a shield right now. So this push is going to cause some serious damage. As long as the artillery actually targets the Ravager. Why is everybody just leaving the Ravager alone? It's like getting incidentally hit. It's okay, the Ravager is not even defending, so it's just shooting at the shield in the background. So target priorities working as intended. That's going to mean that the Ilshevas now get to march their way in, carving their way through a couple of Tech 1 units. They run into another Cerberus turret, which they shouldn't even blink twice at. Here we go, radar down, Cerberus down, more panic, point defense being thrown up by Webrio in the back line, who has recognized that his lane has been, for all intents and purposes, vacated, but that is going to be a little bit too late as the Triad gets denied at like 90% of the way completed. Mex is going down for Ferdin. That is going to be crushing blow to lose that Tech 2 Mex for him, because it's not like he has the entire rest of the map. I don't know how he will ever recover from this. Although, realistically speaking, I don't know how Webrio is going to recover from this one either. As Webrio steps foot outside of the city that he has built and meticulously created and just gets absolutely annihilated for his troubles by the Ilshevas. Kandaker, I can't believe Kandaker is actually losing this Firebase war. He is now forced to vacate because of one Gunther. And I think the fact that he either didn't have radar or just decided not to shoot back at these Cerberus turrets. Titans from Ferdin. Trying to kill these Zuis, but whenever it stands still, Zuis do quite a bit of damage. And on the other side, we have the Great Wall of Ferdin being built on the southern little causeway. Ravagers this time that are shooting the enemy. It's amazing how well those things work whenever they attack the enemy units. You can watch these guys mow down these Tech 1 and Tech 2 units. Pew pew, pew pew. Yeah. Ravagers be ravaging. And the Titans are falling. How much reclaim is on the map? There's quite a bit still. A lot of even the starting reclaim hasn't been sucked up yet. This is important, guys. You wanna have your Tech 1 engineers on attack move or patrol or whatever is easiest for you to grab all this reclaim. Zanduzan could have Tech 3 mexes, I think, at this point, and Tech 3 land. Instead, he's getting his first Tech 3 mex right now. As Gajal has ventured outside of the base with the Obsidians that are getting absolutely demolished by the Ravagers and the Titans. Huge tech mismatch. Obsidians don't stand a chance. I don't know why they're called Obsidians. Whenever they melt like that, they should be called gravel. Or what's a soft rock? Isn't Obsidian like a really tough and sturdy rock? It's definitely not marble. I'm getting myself confused right now. It's like a soft rock. Pumice? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Isn't that the one that's like super porous and kind of crumbles a little bit? Yeah, we're going with pumice. Or is it pumice? Pumic? I don't remember. There's got to be some geologist that watches this that's like, oh my god, you're an idiot. Okay, but Ferdinand now has 3 bases. He's getting these mexes up to Tech 3. Mass income is at 254. Should start thinking about an experimental maybe at 24 minutes into the game on 3 bases. He does have Cybern Tech, so could go for a Monkey Lord. Bletstift going for his first Tech 3 mechs as well. Bletstift also putting his commander in what can only be described as a questionable spot. I don't know why you'd walk your commander in between 2 enemy fire bases, and Kendaker gonna put a torpedo launcher there, and it looks like Bletstift has realized the error of his ways and is moving himself out of said dangerous position, meaning that this torpedo launcher was nothing short of an absolute monumental catastrophic waste, as it gets a few shots off and Bletstift just gives him the middle finger and walks out of the water into Triad Fire. Alright, maybe it wasn't a waste. He's even going to stop for reclaim. The absolute nerve of this man. But I think he only has 4 mexes, so this is really down to Ferdin to figure out a way to win this game, as we now have tactical missile launchers being spammed up, and these are out of... Who built these? Oh, these are out of Zanduzan, I believe. No, they can't be out of Zanduzan. They got to be out of... yeah, those are Kendaker's TMLs. And TMLs have actually taken care of the Ravagers. And there is some TMD here. Not quite enough, though. It's a little bit too far back. So Ferdin's going to respond by putting Ravagers a little bit further forward that just get completely denied by the Clink Hammers of Kendaker back here. But Ferdin is also building Clink Hammers further back where they are safe and unable to hit really anything of importance. But hey, you know what? They can hit these units, and those units will almost certainly not move. And anyway, Ferdin has now also relocated his commander up towards the north and is building a Ravager to deal with this firebase of Kendaker that has now been rebuilt with greater glory to the UEF Empire. No experimentals still, though. Out of, I don't think anybody. Has anybody built an experimental? Is anybody queuing an experimental? Got a lot of Tech 3 mexes up for Ferdin, but no experimentals yet at 26 minutes. This is a good time to build experimentals, guys. Arguably a little bit sooner than this would also be good. Kind of depends on the map. TML going to deny the Ravager any further ravaging. And a Ravager that can't ravage is just a sad Ravager or a dead Ravager, just like this one, a dead Ravager. I thought that was a tactical missile going after the commander. The comm is tac snipeable, I believe. What is the range of these things? Can I see that? Nope, that's the wrong one. Okay, take it. Nope, just outside of the TML range. It looks like Zanduzan taking a couple of hits from Ferdin, who has got a ton of Titans here, and honestly could overwhelm these Tech 2 PDs with this many Titans. Especially after Zanduzan decides that he wants to move all of his units outside, and he does have some demolishers back here. So yeah, get this firebase out of here. You can kill that comm, man. Just go for it. Go for the gold. Go for the throat. Be a hero. Be the hero that you've always wanted to be. There we go. Now they're on the move. See, just needed a little bit of a pep talk. Although I might have pep talked him into his doom here, as the Titans now focus on the Tech 2 point defense. The artillery seems to have stopped firing. These guys should have artillery support, and now it's going to be really bad if these guys just absolutely sit here and take Yuta Shala fire to the face. But his attention is elsewhere, as he is having to deal with Kendaker's brutal Tech 1 assault on what can only be described as an impregnable firebase of doom. ASF flying overhead, taking out the gunships as well. Ferdin's got to be everywhere at the same time. He has also rebuilt the Ravagers to take out the base here. Demolishers are demolishing Kendaker. The Titans stood their ground valiantly and have now died. Just in case you want an update on that. And Ferdin, I believe, has been tack sniped. That has to have been what happened. Yep, you see the tactical missiles that we're launching after. So Ferdin stepped too close, tried to let his Ravagers ravage. Such is the end of a glorious career as the last of the tactical missiles find their mark where there used to be a commander and is now nothing but a metallic corpse. Alright, so Bloodstift. Buddy, it is time for an experimental. It is not time for an SMD because there is no nuke. Always gotta scout for the nukes. Kendaker's firebase should be pretty much toast here. Between the Ravagers as well as the Demolishers up to the north. Although Zanduzan, the Xanax is now worn off. He's got the Othams, he's got the mobile shields, he's got the fire, he's got the will. He just needed a little bit of a break. He was feeling pretty stressed out. But now that he's had a nice East Coast vacation, he is making his way in towards the middle. Only thing he could add here is some sniper bots. I think that would really round out this force. As Bricks and Titans and Tech 1 bombers being sent in overhead. Gonna get mangled by the Tech 2 mobile flak that is in this mix. Yeah, we got some Ayashivas there. Which, by the way, on my most recent science video, a lot of you guys talked about fast-moving targets. That is actually footage that I did have. I just didn't put it in, so I'll probably make a part 2 to that video if you guys are curious on how that works and how that looks. I didn't really think it changed. In my opinion, it didn't change the overall story too terribly much. But yeah, if you guys want to see that, the footage is already there. I still have it, so I'll throw that into a video and throw my lovely sultry baritone voice over the top of it. And yeah, you guys can see that part 2 of that since you guys were asking so much down in the comments below. Speaking of which, as with all science topics, there's some of them that I come up with on my own. I got a couple of interesting ideas for some that I just haven't had the energy to put together lately, to be honest. But yeah, if there's anything you guys want me to see a science video on, the next one is going to be after the mobile AA. I'm going to take a look at the individual game enders. Some people asked to do like a game ender comparison. I don't think I'm going to take it in that direction just because a lot of the game enders are just, they're very, very unique in the way that you deal with them. Like the Mavor is like nearly impossible to shield against unless you have really, really good assisting skills. The Salvation, also very similar, very, very good at shields, but has a lot less, at least from what I've seen, isn't quite as good at dealing with buildings. The Scathus moves, but drops off a lot at really, really long range. And then the Yolana is completely different because you don't shield for it at all. You have to build SMDs, although you need an ungodly amount of SMDs to actually be able to counteract it. So they're very different. I'm going to do more of like a deep dive into the three of them and strengths and weaknesses. I don't really think it's fair to compare them because they're all very good at kind of their particular area. As Zanduzan starting to take apart Bloodstift here, who I think is just getting a little overwhelmed here. Props to this guy for playing it out, but he's going to lose that southern position. At least he should be losing the southern position as long as Zanduzan keeps his attention moving. Zanduzan also pressuring in the northern area as Kendaker is also pressuring in the northern area. Bloodstift actually has completed an experimental unit, has a Monkey Lord on the field. Thank Christ somebody built an experimental. It only took one dude having 4 bases to build an experimental. Guys, don't wait that long to build experimentals. If you keep your eco going, especially even on this map, if you don't get 2 bases, you can get an experimental out by 30 minutes. If you get multiple bases, it means you can get it out faster, especially in full share. Nice turns there from Zan to Zan. Gonna absolutely annihilate the Gemini from Bloodstift, and the broadswords now adding insult to injury. We can probably speed this up a little bit, because I'm curious what Bloodstift wants to do with this Monkey Lord, but I'm having trouble seeing a way that he makes it out of this one. So get him up to 33 minutes here. Monkey Lord on an attack path into Candaker's forward manufacturing. And I'm pretty sure they see it now. And that is actually, oh, hello, I didn't see this. Gazelle gets taken out by a bunch of Percivals on a run by. So Bloodstift trying to level the playing field here. 2 players to 1. Although Gazelle, I don't think he was the most impactful player in this game. But still, it's actions per minute that otherwise are going to waste, as the Monkey Lord now marches in, but with no air support, it is going to get absolutely stabbed to death by these broadswords. Actually, broadswords, I guess, are more of a cutting weapon than a stabbing weapon, so cut to ribbons by the broadswords. And there is a second Monkey Lord that is not receiving the amount of prioritization that it needs to, especially because Bloodstift is overflowing tons of mass. This is probably a classic example of dragging experimentals. That used to work a while ago, and now I've noticed that if you drag experimentals, if you select like 20 engineers or something and you drag a line of experimentals, it used to have all those engineers build all the experimentals, and I noticed a while ago that it doesn't seem to do it anymore. So you gotta build one and then build another and then another, or you've got to make sure that you keep your assistants focused. But either way, Bloodstift getting destroyed here. Where is his commander? His commander's in his base right here. But base is getting destroyed, and I think he's just a little bit overwhelmed right now. Either that or he's just given up. Can't really blame him. So this was a wacky game. If you guys want to see more games like this, even at lower skill levels like this one, please feel free to send them in. I tried to make this one slightly educational, slightly entertaining. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That's it from me, guys. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.